Are you excited for the Thunderbolts? Asterisk. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. The latest Marvel movie that we have, Thunderbolts with the asterisk, this is being directed by Mr. Jake Schreier. I do hope I pronounced that correctly. If we scroll down and look at his filmography, he was responsible for Beef, which released on Netflix a couple of years ago. I did not see that series, but I heard nothing but great things. If you have seen it, let me know about it in the comments section below. He also did Paper Towns that came out in 2015, and I vaguely remember that film, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And as we scroll through looking at more of his work, please let me know what you have seen and what you have not. But when it comes to the Thunderbolts, I can't say that I was super duper excited about this. I can't say that I was looking forward to it. Even though comic book superhero movies are my favorite besides martial arts films, there was nothing that I didn't like about the trailer. I do like the actors and all of the performances they gave in previous television shows and films in the MCU, but I just wasn't excited about this. I wanted to keep my expectations low. So before I get into all the nitty gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what this film Thunderbolts Asterisk is all about. After finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. All right, guys, the first thing that I liked about this film is the asterisk that is behind the title of Thunderbolts. When this film was first announced, me included, everybody was wondering what that meant, and Kevin Feige said, hey, when the film comes out, you will finally know what that means, what it implies. And at the very end of the film, they do deliver on that promise. Whether am I satisfied or not, I am. I am interested in seeing where they're going with this. I think some people may have predicted this online. I wouldn't have gone as far as saying I thought they would go in this direction, but I'm not upset. I'm just curious, especially with the announcement of the newer films that's coming out next with Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday. I'm curious. I'm eager to find out how this is going to play into the entire universe. So I am satisfied thus far. The next thing I liked about this film, or I just want to go ahead and get out of the way, are the two credit scenes, the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene. There are two, stay all the way to the very end. The middle credit scene really didn't do anything for me. It was just a joke. It was just a gag, whether you saw it or not. It has absolutely nothing. Okay, it may have 1% to do with the story that came in the film, but it's not a big deal. If I never saw it, I wouldn't lose a moment of sleep. Now, the post-credit scene, that is where you get into all the nitty-gritty. Again, I had no idea that they was going to go in this direction. And I'm not saying that the internet is going to break or be set on fire or this is going to be all over headlines or anything like that. No, not remotely close. But I did say to myself, oh, okay, I didn't expect y'all to go there. I see what you're doing, and okay, I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna be patient and see how this develops in the future films that we have coming in the MCU. Like I said, the Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday. So it was a little surprise to me, not a big deal, but I said, okay, I see where y'all are going. I see where you're headed. Let's see and hope that y'all can stick the landing when everything comes together. So it has some promise to it. Now, in the actual film, something that I loved or someone is Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh. My goodness gracious. This is one of the better performances that she's had in the entire MCU. We all know that she was nominated for an Oscar with Little Women a number of years ago, but she brought that amount of skill level into this Thunderbolts film. And it is one of the better performances out of the whole MCU as far as acting is concerned, and you emoting and sympathizing and not necessarily empathizing, but just feeling sorry for the character. These instances were hinted at in previous films, like Hawkeye and also Black Widow, but that was a TV show, the former. But I was gasping for air when I was watching some of her scenes where she was emoting and crying and just showing a ton of passion on screen. I love the way the film started off with her, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to this in life, to where you just feel lost, you just feel empty, you feel like you have no direction in life, or a destination to strive to. You're just kind of floating on day by day, going through these mundane tasks, and it just really doesn't seem like there's light at the end of the tunnel, like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow will ever appear. It just seems like an endless, infinite loop cycle of unnecessary life that you just want to escape out of. And that's what she was going through. You can hear it in her words, you can see it in her body language. She gave a phenomenal performance, and again, it's one of the best that I've seen in the MCU. The next thing I liked about this film and what it represents of just how some people are so blindly obsessed with power when it is not necessary at all. That does come from Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and she's great. She's great in everything that she does. I saw a critic say this a couple of years ago, that he feels like she is miscast in the MCU. And I necessarily won't say that, but she just hasn't had a standout performance to where it seems like it was worth it for the amount of recognition and praise that she has. I will say that this is also the best performance that we've gotten from her character, Valentina, in the MCU. So this movie is bringing out the best of everybody that it has involved, and that's just nothing but a great thing. And this obsession of power that she has, like, she is a disgusting character. You want to punch her in the face. You want something bad to happen to her, but unfortunately, she's just always able to slip between the cracks and get away like a squealing little weasel, and you're just like, you know, and I kind of feel weird just wishing harm upon a woman, but once you see the film and just how conniving she is, it just puts a bad taste in your mouth, to say the least. And also just to say that she's doing a great job as a villain, an antagonist, because, you know, she's just that despicable. And while I was watching this movie, you would think, I mean, the cat's out the bag here. There's no secret that aliens exist into the world. I mean, they all went through the blip. We have celestials coming out of the ground, gods falling from the sky, etc. We are not living in a normal world that they thought they did 30, 50 years ago. And so with the blip and everything that's going on, you would think that people would be able to put all their differences aside and come together, you know, and still have our different groups and cultures and respect and love everybody, but just put all these petty differences aside. But you have these characters like Valentina just doesn't care about that and still just wants to be on top. And it's just disgusting, and also just another great reflection on life. I also really like the team building in this film. These random groups of people that know each other vaguely are able to come together and make the best out of the situation that they're in. No, this is not all honky-dory. They're getting along the whole time, but they're not just fighting unnecessarily either. There's a decent balance to it, and I do appreciate that. Like, okay, hey, we're all in a bind right here. If we want to work as individuals, we're probably going to die, but if we work together, we probably can make it out of here alive, or at least just have one casualty. Let's do the best that we can. And so I do appreciate that. And between the group, as they're getting along with each other and progressing through the story, there is a hell of a ton of banter between all of the characters, and you get to know their personalities and who has all these strengths and weaknesses. And that was somewhat of a highlight too at certain points in the film, and it has its lighthearted moments if you don't want anything serious. The reason why I say that is the last MCU film was, of course, Captain America: Brave New World. That had more of a serious tone, in my opinion, with not that many jokes. There wasn't a ton of jokes in Thunderbolts. This was not just some goof troop laugh track or anything like that, but it was much lighter in tone. There really wasn't that many serious aspects to it at all. Now, even though you will have better enjoyment of this film if you've seen a few of the previous titles like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, or Hawkeye, but it is not necessary for you to have a full understanding of what's going on, but you will appreciate the characters and your journey if you do know their backstory. And speaking about backstory, I almost left this out. We do also get some backstory of Valentina's childhood and why she is the way that she is today. I'm not giving her any excuses, but I can understand why she kind of has a chip on her shoulder and just kind of wants to dominate all of the situations around her. It still doesn't give her an excuse to carry out some of the actions that she takes part in, but at least we have some origin. And yes, you do need to see previous MCU films and TV shows to comprehend this to best, but at the same time, this does feel like its own contained story. It doesn't necessarily feel like it is going to affect the MCU in a drastic way, or in a way that you just wouldn't want or be a fan of. There will be some implications I can understand to where the next film in Fast Tax 4, actually maybe not, but just that there was another film and they mentioned some events by name, as far as this one is concerned, how that would make perfect sense and kind of flow without being jarring or anything like that. Something I haven't been a fan of in the past is when the MCU tries to introduce new secondary or supporting characters. I'll give you one example. Captain America Brave New World, they tried to introduce some new Black Widow agent, and I just really wasn't feeling her at all. She weighed like 120 pounds, or at least looked like that. In this film, they do have two new characters, more in a political sense, with Wendell Pierce, a Black brother. I'm a fan of him. I liked his inclusion in this. And also Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. She has a new assistant by the name of Megan or Melanie. I liked her, or Mel. Her name is Geraldine Vishwanathan. And I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but I did like her. She was a nice addition. If she popped up later on in the MCU in another small role or a bigger role, oh, that's the woman from Thunderbolts. She was cool. I'm glad I'm seeing her now. So I do like the addition of new characters as well. They wasn't an annoyance, because sometimes that can be. Or like in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, instead of us getting more Ayo, we got like a new Black Panther woman. I think her name was Michaela Cole. I don't have nothing against Michaela Cole, but it's like, why are we not getting more Ayo? Like, she's been developed since 2016 with Captain America Civil War. Like, she should be bigger now, like Okoye is. But we got Michaela Cole's character, and I don't even remember her character's name. But that's just another example of extra new characters that I didn't like, but in this film I did. And of course, you know, we got to talk about the action, and it was dope. They choreographed the hell out of these scenes between the Thunderbolts versus Sentry and Void, and all the back and forths and in between there. Also, just some of the action between the special forces guards that are trying to hold down certain facilities and keep people in, keep people out, all that good stuff. I really did like the choreography. I like the fighting. I like the action. I thought it was a great representation of all powers and abilities from most of the characters. And mind you, I did say most. And guys, that is going to be all the things I really did like about the film. But now let me transition to some things I really didn't care for. But before that, my YouTube subscription song. Subscribe. All right, so the first thing that I really didn't care for in this film was the banter between the characters, the Thunderbolts. It was a bit excessive, and they should have dialed it back just a bit. I thought they was just talking too much. Now, I'm not saying that they was just joking around. I said that earlier, this was not some goofy laugh track, even though some joke or two could have been dialed back a little bit. I'll say when they was in a limousine trying to escape the military, and Red Guardian was trying to use some device, and it started playing that Genuine song, on it, let's do it, ride it. I didn't really like that in the trailer, and then in this movie, I was just like, okay, can we kind of just skip past this? There wasn't much of bad or goofy banter between the characters. There was just too much talking. I'm like, okay, I don't think in a real situation these lines of dialogue will be taking place. You would either be doing something else or saying something else. Just seems like useless exposition. Now, I can kind of understand that what they're trying to do is fill in the gaps for the people that have not seen the previous films or Disney Plus shows. And I understand that, but for somebody that has seen it already and knows it in and out, it just doesn't flow naturally. There was also a lack of common sense, in my opinion, when the Thunderbolts first met each other, because they're just blindly trying to kill each other. I mean, like, no one would do that. You know who these characters are or have heard of them before, and given your position in the world, in the government, whatever, you should have enough sense to have some deductive reason to say, okay, if I'm here, they're probably here for the same reasons. I'm trying to blow their head off. They're trying to blow my head off. Time out. Let's figure this out. Yes, they did do that eventually, but it just took a little bit too long for me. And this is my opinion. And because there was so much banter in this film between the characters, I thought it cut back on the overall story. This was a very simple story, peanut butter and jelly from A to B, and that's not a bad thing. I just feel like there was potential for so much more. And guys, the last thing that I really didn't care for is the villain, Sentry and or the Void. There was no origin to his story at all, and I really didn't like that. If they wanted, they could have given us a better origin instead of just dialogue. They could have gave us a B-roll or some shots in a lab and the experimentation and all of that, but we didn't get that. And the character that is playing Century seemed like this was his first acting job ever. Everybody in the movie could act instead of him. And I don't understand that. Lewis Pullman, Robert Reynolds is his name in the film. And not only that is, he's kind of two characters. You have Century and the Void. I liked everything with Century. I thought that was cool and dope as hell. But the Void, I couldn't comprehend what was going on. I don't know the rules or the origins of his powers and abilities. So when he's doing Void-like things, it just means nothing to me. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to defeat this character. Still right now, if somebody asked me, how did the Thunderbolts defeat the character? Or what attempt did they make? What were they trying to do? What were they trying to accomplish? If there was a round two, what would the plan be going in to try to seize the day, be on top? I wouldn't have an answer for you. I just wouldn't, because I don't know what they was doing in the film. Things just kind of happened when it came up to the Void. Now, as far as Century is concerned, that was dope. I liked all that. And I wish I could say more, but I don't want to get into spoilers, but they were just a bit inconsistent. There were more positives than negatives in this film, and I did like it overall, but just keep your expectations low. And I will also say, as far as comparing this to Captain America Brave New World, the action in Captain America Brave New World was far superior, like light years better. I don't want to say light years better. It was just much better to me than it was in Thunderbolts. And again, not to say that it was bad in Thunderbolts, but the structure of Thunderbolts was better than Brave New World. It flowed much smoother and better editing and effects and all that good stuff. So I will go ahead and give my rating for this at the very end, guys. But for now, that is just my opinion, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And please hit that subscribe button to help me reach my next milestone of 75,000 subscribers. And also click on all my Sinners coverage and trailer reaction videos as well. So if I had to rate the Thunderbolts out of a 1 out of 10, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Yes, an 8 out of 10. I think I gave Brave New World a 7.5 out of 10. I don't remember what I gave Brave New World, but I'll give Thunderbolts an 8 out of 10. But guys, again, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery. That's just my opinion. Peace. And I'll see you next time.